students at St Thomas Academy in Lancaster in the northwest of England, and we all chose to take part in the MyStory project.
Hi, I'm Kate Charlson. I'm in my last year at sixth form. I study maths, psychology, business and Spanish. I chose to be a story collector because I'm interested in how businesses run, and thought it'd be good to be able to compare business from the past to the future and see how they've evolved over the past 50 years.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I'm also 17, and I decided to do this project because I thought it'd be interesting to see how life has changed in the last 60 years.
Hi, I'm Leah. I'm 17, and I thought this project was a great insight into how people lived. I also found it a great opportunity for my future career, as I want to be a nurse.
So we interviewed Pat Lambert, who works at the Bellevue Day Centre, which is a care home for elderly people. And she's telling us about her past work life, and then also we really admire about her that she still enjoys working, and she has a completely different mindset to most people nowadays, as she's working past the state age of retirement.
My first job was at the mill. I started the day I was 15, and when you went into the mill, people thought you just went in and you did the job, you know, there and then. You didn't. It was actually a trade. You actually went into a training school where you trained for about 3 to 4 months to be able to manage the machines. We used to make cotton for people to spin the cotton for people to weave, and then the cotton would be used for backing out oilcloth or dadling and things like that. So that was my job in the mills at 15. I worked in the mill till I was 19-year-old, and that was when the mills actually shut down. They found out it was cheaper to buy the cotton from abroad than actually make it. Because a lot of the work in Lancaster at that time was in the mills, there was a lot of people became out of work. Because each job in the mill you had to be trained for, once you were trained for that job, that's what you would carry on doing. You couldn't be in spinning one day and go to weaving the next day because you know, you wouldn't have been trained to do that job. Yeah, you used to see people, you know, take their fingers off. I actually was nearly took my supervisor's arm off. My frame had broke down, and he was mending it. He was at the bottom of the frame with the doors open where all the cogs was. And because it was so noisy in the mill, you didn't really hear properly, so I thought he tried for me to switch the machine on, which I did, and nearly took his hand off. The lifts that they used to have in them days weren't like the lifts we have now. The health and safety wasn't as good as what it is now. They were like shift lifts, if you will, just, you know, pulling up on a rope. And before my time, there was a young boy that fell down the shaft and actually killed himself. The cotton mill was on Bath Street, and it led on to the canal, because every mill needed a canal for the cargo boats, to the barges to fetch the cotton, the raw cotton up. Later on in years it was fetched by road, but all the mills were built next to canals so that they had the transport to transport the cotton. Well, the minimum age was as soon as you left school, 15. You would be in, as I say, the training school for 3 to 6 months, depending on how long it took to train you. And then you'd go actually working what they call bonus, where you got paid a standard wage, but you had to make your money up by making bonuses. Yes, we did. Once we started making the bonuses, we got the same pay. Yeah. My first wage was £3 and 5p when I started at the mill.
Would you carry on that job?
Most people would do, because the cotton mills was like a family. You know, you had the older end there, and you had the young ones leaving school and starting, and you become like a family. All the young ones would go out together at the night floor, or all pier, or dance halls. And so yeah, you tend to just stay there. You'd get married, you'd have time off to have your baby and then go back. You always knew that you could go back you know, after your baby. So yeah, if it hadn't shut down, probably would have still been there today. Maximum age then for a lady was 60, and for a man it was 65, and then you had to retire. Not like now where they up the age. Yeah. No, it was equal. You could say it was equal, men and women. The women tend to be in the spinning rooms and the spooling rooms, and the men tend to be in the roving rooms and the weaving rooms. Although you did have women weavers as well as men, but no, it was equal, yeah. Yeah, over the years I've suffered with my hearing. When you're working in the mills you don't actually realise it, because everybody that works in the mill actually learns to lip read, because you can't hear cut noise anyhow. It's only when you finish the mills that you realise that your hearing has been affected. Yeah, I enjoyed working there, and it learnt me to grow up. You'd have the older people that worked there, that, you know, if you didn't do your job right, or you give a cheek or what have you, they'd just give you a cuff round here all, and that'd be it. And everybody in there was your mother. You answered to all of them as your mother, really. And it did learn your values. Everybody that worked in the cotton mills were relatively poor. But you was all the same, so, you know, there was no, like, you know, you've got more than me, everybody was same, you know, and you was one big family. Yeah. No, I didn't find it hard to get another job. I think for females it was easier because it was shop work, where for the boys there weren't the apprentices and things, so I think it was harder for them. But no, I found it quite easy actually to get a job, and I was there for 3 years and I enjoyed it. And from the mill shutting down, I actually went to work at Lawson's toy shop, which was called the Rocking Horse shop on New Street. I was there about 3 years, and then when I was 21, 22, I actually came to work at Beaumont View, which is this place, which is now Valeview.